something that I also wanted to get into, and I know you're open to talking about this because it's something that you've gone through, and you're kind of a leader within your own little community on this as well. But like when I'm doing a podcast like this, the first thing I do is type someone's name in and do a little bit of research on Google, and one of the things that pops up straight away is one of the headlines is, Maddy Banic on suicide attempt. There's an article on this whole thing that you've gone through in your past, and it's pretty confronting when you read it, like, oh wow. But I know you're open to it, and know you're willing to talk about it. And yesterday there was a big campaign of, are you okay, and kind of checking in with family and friends and that sort of thing. So talk to me about this a little bit. When did this what was it for you, and when did it start?
Okay, so for me, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety my freshman summer. So the summer of trials, 2016.
How did you know something was going on? What was happening?
I've struggled with self-harm since my junior year of high school. And I went to college, and freshman year, everything was fine and dandy. Like you're on such a high from the freedom of college and starting something new, that, I was just a very like happy-go-lucky person. And I kind of shoved everything from high school, like just down. And that never works. Don't ever do that. Don't shove it down. But when sophomore year came around, like things just started getting difficult again. The friendships were hard, and I was angry a lot. Like the easiest way I can always describe it, I was always angry. Any little thing would set me off, and I would get mad at people, and I get mad at myself, and get mad at my family. And I wasn't very happy. I would like do things with people or hang out with people. And I just like wouldn't be having a fun time. Like all I'd wanted to do is go home and like crawl in bed and just not do anything. And so I got diagnosed with that my freshman year, and it like finally made sense to me. And it was a very refreshing feeling, because I was like, finally, like I knew this wasn't like just who I am as a person. Like there's no way that like I'm supposed to be feeling this way. And so it was really refreshing, and I would like dare to say excited, because I was like, all right, we know what's wrong. You can fix it. If you know what's wrong, you can work on fixing it.
And what were some of the steps that they did for working on to fix it at that point?
Yeah. So they were like, let's try therapy. And I started seeing one of the athletic department's therapists. I love her to death. We started trying medicine. We started trying, yoga, breathing exercises, kind of the things you hear about. And for me, like, I wasn't really buying into it, nothing was working immediately, and it doesn't work immediately. But back then I was like, I want it to work now. I want to be fixed now. I don't want the patience or to keep trying. And so nothing was really working. It wasn't going as fast as I wanted it to. So I was just getting more and more frustrated, more and more down. And I started drinking a lot, which like in college isn't weird. It didn't really raise red flags, because that's the college culture is like getting drunk, binge drinking. Like that's not strange. But I started doing that a lot. I started self-harming again, was having a lot of panic attacks, like at practice, at home, like just always kind of, one of my big things with panic attacks is like I dissociate. So like I won't really respond. I get really shaky. I feel like I have static in my fingers and in my nose. I'm not I don't hyperventilate too terribly bad, but I just kind of like zone out for a second.
Now, were you taking your medication regularly at this point?
Yeah. So at this point in my life, we were trying a bunch of different medications. So like the things with antidepressants is that some or one type that will work for someone might not work for someone else. And when you go through all these and try them, you also get all the really terrible side effects of each of them too, And so it was a kind of a trial and error process, which is not fun. Anyone who's ever had to do it will tell you it's not fun to do. but and it was just frustrating because we couldn't find one that worked for me that, either didn't make me feel sick or made me feel tired, or, sometimes antidepressants even trigger suicide ideations. And
Mm-hmm.
so it wasn't necessarily making anything better because we couldn't find the right one.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just started coping with it in unhealthy ways and hurting people and hurting myself and just getting really frustrated. And it got to a point where I'm a lover. Like, that's one of the ways I describe myself, is like when I bond with someone or get really close to someone, like I would do anything for them. And I was at a point in my life where I was hurting the people I love the most, and I just couldn't mentally handle that. And I couldn't handle that. Like, I was so upset and so sad, and just there was nothing really in my life that I was excited about. So there was a Sunday in August where I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to hurt people. Like, this is just too hard. We've tried, nothing's working. And it had been almost a full year by that point of, just trial and error, trying to figure out what was going on. And, I got all the medicine I had in my house, and I went to my room and I started writing goodbye letters. And I actually texted my therapist one last time just to be like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, it wasn't your fault. And it was in probably the lowest point I've ever been in my life. And she actually, thankfully, it was a Sunday, and she was near her phone and got a hold of my roommates, and my roommates busted down my door and stopped me from doing anything. But it was not even a week after that, we both decided voluntarily that I was like, I need to leave. Like, I need to go get help. I'd really scared myself that day. And I think a lot of people who have been close to suicide or have attempted will tell you that, when you are in the moment and are going to do it, you can sometimes regret it. And I definitely did. I was like, I was very thankful that my roommates were able to stop me from doing anything. But I had scared myself, and we decided that I needed to, go get some real professional help without the pressures of school or swimming or people just in general. And so I ended up leaving my junior year for that fall semester, and I went to a treatment center in Chicago for a month. I was there over September. And afterwards, I really I always say that treatment center was probably the most scarring but also useful month of my entire life. I learned so much while I was there. I met some incredible people. My eyes were just completely opened. And when I first got there, I was not happy to be there, but once I kind of let myself buy into, healing and working through things and, really trying to better myself, there weren't any, that was all I was there to do. And so once I bought into it and actually got to focus all day on, getting better, it got a lot easier, and I started to learn a lot of things. And I started to get, just processing a lot of things and learning things. And I got really excited to go back to Knoxville. And I figured out while I was there that I wanted to keep swimming. My passion was still in swimming. And I thought maybe leaving swimming, and there was always that kind of voice in my head that was maybe you'd be happier if you didn't swim. You're upset now when you're swimming. Ever since you started high level elite swimming, you haven't been okay. So maybe swimming's the problem. And that was always a little thing in my head that I didn't want to believe, but always thought. But once I actually took swimming away, I realized how much I loved it and how much I missed it. And how it just really gave me an avenue to get rid of that competitive energy in my, my personality is just very competitive. So I wanted to go back. I wanted to keep swimming. And, I worked my way back to the team. It wasn't very easy. There were definitely some obstacles along the way, but I got back into it, and Matt was so supportive during all of this. And, there was never a hesitation from him to not let me back on the team. Like, he welcomed me back with open arms, and, and I'm thankful he did, because I definitely wouldn't be swimming right now if he didn't.
Wow, a really powerful message right there, powerful story. And I'm just taking it all in as you were talking about it. And I appreciate you being so open with us, because there's probably a lot of people that are experiencing similar things. And I think we're becoming more open to understanding it and talking about it and accepting it. And